What the? Ah! Who wrote these instructions? I'm never going to work step one. Step one is here, not up here. It's here, and then it's 1, 3. What am I doing? Connect the dots here? It's like concentric. Hold on, I gotta check something. Vampires. Nope, no vampires. Whew. If I got any more comfortable, I'd be asleep. Down here in the shed in my pajamas. It's fun to work in your pajamas. Well, I got exactly one piece glued on today. I just got out here a little while ago. Been actually working on videos all day, and you guys have been great. I've gotten so many pictures. I thought I was going to give it like a week to collect photos. I think I've got probably 200 photos now. You guys have got some mad skills. I'm gonna have to. That's gonna need a little more putty and sanding. You can probably see that seam from there. So anyway, I think I thought about just mixing them up. Some of them have the names of the people who did them on them, and some are just photos. So it's gonna take me a while to get organized. The viewers builds. I want to make sure everybody that sent some pictures is in there. I probably won't use all of them, or well, I mean, I suppose I could. It's just going to be a really long video, and I was kind of debating whether to just use like the person's first name and last initial, you know, don't put too much information out there, or just stick the photos up and you'll know if it's yours. I really haven't figured out how I want to go about it. I like to keep it a leisurely thing, just enjoy everybody's builds. And anyway, once again, thanks. I still got more stuff coming in, and again, you can use Facebook or email. It's I got the you probably already know I got the ABI and Rising video up. And how'd you guys like that song? The Dreamberry 2 performed that for me. I wrote the lyrics and picked the music, sent it to him. He tweaked it and made some corrections, and he does that for me. So anyway, I actually sent, if you guys haven't seen it, yeah, go watch it at the end of the ABI video, or you go to D Dreamberry 2's channel. He's got it up there too. This time, because I went ahead and put the lyrics on it in captions and everything. But anyway, yeah, for those who are asking, yes, actually, after 20-odd years of building models and getting fine scale modeler, I had bought a late 1960s vintage Aurora Cherokee 180, and by no means the most detailed model, most accurate model on earth. But the reason I have a sentimental attachment to that and the Aztec, the Piper Aztec model, and both of them, by the way, were a couple of the only Aurora models I know that actually had photographs of the airplanes on them instead of any kind of artwork. I don't know what made them decide to do that. You know, maybe they just had the photos laying around. Anyway, I had built those a couple times as a kid. I probably built the Aztec 2 or 3 times and the Cherokee 2 or 3 times. And there's a bit of a story behind that. I guess I was always getting Friday afternoon productions because I never got the Aztec with the correct windows. It always had the windows, the clear glass from the Cherokee, which doesn't fit. So none of my Aztecs ever had windshields in them or windows. And so of course you don't even bother to paint them. You just pick up the white plastic airplane, do it together, and make, you know, vroom vroom noises until, you know, last flight, firecracker. And by the way, folks, the proper way to execute a model is death by firecracker. Throwing it against the wall, that's just undignified. I didn't say I'd never done it, but because a good explosion is a terrible thing to waste. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, I probably built the Cherokee 3 times and the Aztec 2 or 3 times. And since I grew up, my dad was a pilot. He taught me to fly, and I was around light general aviation a lot, so I always had a real sentimental attachment to it. Plus, I always loved that gold paint scheme. But of course, that's not the decals that come with it. And these little Aurora general aviation kits, the Cessna 310, the Aero Commander, the Piper Aztec, the Apache, and the Cherokee have gotten really expensive. They usually run about $90 on eBay. These are kits that I paid 65 cents or maybe $1 for. So anyway, I I kept saying, you know what, I'm going to get one of those and do a real nice job on it. I'm going to make it look like it does on the cover of the box, the way I like it, with that gold paint scheme and everything. And I said, I'm not going over $50 for the thing. Even that's a ludicrous price. You're paying for nostalgia. But finally I got one for about 30 bucks, just bit the bullet, and with the shipping it was probably closer to 40. So I really took my time. I took a lot of photographs of the build, and due to operator headspace and timing, I accidentally deleted them. They're lost to the ages. But I was able to, using Tamiya tape and just being super careful with everything, I was able to get it to come out good. The pinstriping I had to use, there was no way you're going to be able to, on the model that small, be able to pinstripe that with tape, so at least not I can anyway. So I bought the decals with the real thin stripe, pinstriping and everything, and I'll tell you right now, that was hard. I got some end numbers out of another kit that happened to be the right size, but I'll tell you that it was a surprisingly challenging kit, and I've submitted a lot of stuff to Fine Scale Modeler, and no doubt a lot of it was, it's kind of like, yeah, what the heck, I'll just send them the picture, there's no way that's going to get anything. I think 7 or 8 of them got on the website, but so that whole song is a true story. It really is. But anyway, so when I opened up the magazine last April and saw that in there, I mean, I really did drop my mouth. I was so excited. 20 years of trying, and apparently they not only look for the quality of the build, but also, because sometimes you'll look and go, well, man, that really doesn't look like that was that hard to do. I mean, is that really such a great build? But they also want to have some variety. They don't want to just, put in nothing but Mustang Zeros, B-17s, and 55 Chevys. They want something different, And I understand, I'm trying to keep people's interest. I guess might hit the right combination of build quality and nostalgia, and something they don't get all the time. And it just kind of, whatever the little matrix was, it just finally got in there. So, yay! One item off the bucket list. But anyway, I haven't had any problems putting this Stuka together. I haven't done anything since yesterday. But if you look at it, could be in my imagination, but shouldn't there be a little more dihedral after or is that about right? I'm looking at my monogram Stuka, and I don't know, it's pretty close. The small scale, it's hard to tell. They may well have it right, but monogram kit seems to have a little more up dihedral on it. So anyway, that's nothing worth getting upset about. No biggie, enjoy it just the same. I should be sanding. I literally, this is the only time I got out here early was about 10 minutes before this to get my cane. The valve with the bombs on it has been demoted to the shelf out here. It's now with its compatriots in the Midway pile, because I needed some room on the shelf, and that's the Mania valve. I put bombs on that one and torpedoes on the other one. By the way, here's some trivia for you. Early part of the Second World War, there is no question that the Val was the finest torpedo plane in the world. Far better than the American Devastator, obviously, and a good 90 miles an hour faster. But the other thing it had going for it besides speed was range. Apparently it was very easy to fly, very generous wing. But it had one little flaw that in the Battle of Midway actually became a fairly important thing that it had nothing to do with the flying characteristics of the airplane. Everything with the Japanese battle plans was set-piece battle, prepared in advance. Now, of course, it could carry bombs or it could carry a torpedo. But to swap the ordnance, the ground crew not only had to drop the ordnance off, but they also had to remove the shackles, because the torpedo and the bombs use completely different attachments, different harness mechanisms. So that took, for a good crew, just changing the rack for the bombs to the harness for the torpedo was a solid 15 minutes, in addition to everything else. And the Japanese aircraft carriers, you normally only had about 5 of those motorized dollies they moved the torpedoes around on to handle 15 or 16 airplanes, so they had to share. You could manhandle and wheel around the bombs, but torpedoes are a little too heavy for that. I mean, you could, but it really slowed things up. And of course it wore out the ground crew, so they were getting slower as the day went by. So for those who know about the battle, as Nagumo kept changing his ordnance back and forth, this kept slowing things up, and that was a big factor because that played into why all of the airplanes were fully loaded below decks and fully fueled, not up on the deck and ready to take off, despite the myth you may have heard, when the Americans showed up, and why the Japanese aircraft carriers are such a tinderbox. Most of you probably heard the story that, the Japanese within 5 minutes of taking off, that was largely propagated by Fuchida in his book after the war. Everyone in the West had just taken it at face value because he was there, and then later on, other Japanese scholars and even some veterans were like, "Oh, he's full of crap." No, we were good 45 minutes from taking off. The planes were still below decks, and there's a photograph taken, I believe, by one of the B-17s that was still orbiting, or one of the aircraft, but I think it was one of the B-17s. But it shows one of the carriers, I think it's the Akagi, just about 10 minutes before the fateful 5 minutes. And there's 3 combat air patrol aircraft spotted on the deck, nothing else. So there's no way those decks were loaded and ready to go, despite all the imagery and artwork and fantasy and books that have been written about it. Tully and Parshall in their book Shattered Sword, pardon the pun, completely shatter that myth. And that's largely getting dispelled, but once something like that gets started, it's hard to, it's hard to squash it. And as Fox Mulder would say, the truth is out there. Well, all right. Not a lot going on right now. I'm going to head back inside and make sure I don't get bit by a vampire on the way. No, there's no vampire out there. Stop it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the morning for coffee. Take care. Yes, I make airplane sounds. Okay, let's put that one over here. I'm sorry. This is not a Susie. This is a Judy, the D4Y. I saw the word and thought Susie. Susie was an old Japanese biplane. This in Japanese is Susei, which means comet. And it's about as fast as one. That's one of the reasons they built it. It was later replaced the inline DB601 copy with a radial engine. So apologies for that, and thank you for the correction. Guys, I don't mind being corrected. I encourage it. I like to say things right, I mean, my ego has gotten to be about that big from being crushed by life so often. So, okay, now, sync up the engines, boys. Put you there. Gently. And carrier trap.
I can't believe what I just saw. It made me drop a slackened jaw. A goal beyond my reach, or so it seemed. An aspiration I had only dreamed. A vision I foresaw when I was a kid. Yes, I did. I'm in fine scale modeler. I gave myself a clapping hand. Now I can die a happy man. After making only the website, I finally got every detail right. When the paint and the glue put up their usual fight, I kept it tight and got in fine scale modeler. And in the workshop light I saw the airbrush pattern start to sprawl. The paint, it was not and we're in. The primer, it had been over thin. And the finish must be corrected right away for me tools I use are getting old. I know that better stuff is sold, but I'm building on a budget here. I can't be buying all that fancy gear. Still my work got better over time. Finally I'm featured in fine scale modeler, and the premium I paid for the little kit I made, it was worth the extra shipping fees. The online auction brought me to my knees. The email said you won this item, 'cause you raised your bid just in time. Well, now it's mine, displayed in fine scale modeler.